Well, we are never away from the master, no? Taking God as the master. Wherever we are, He is with us whether we want Him or not. That's one problem for most people who want to follow a wrong path. There's a famous short poem, The Hound of God. This is a fellow woodcutter who goes into the forest every day and he wants to be with God. That is his yearning. And one day he hears footsteps behind him. Being alone in the jungle, he's afraid. He walks faster and the steps follow faster. He runs and the steps run after him. And finally he collapses because of fatigue and falls. And then he sees the divine presence. He says, "My son, you have been running away all your life from me." He says, "But I was now running towards you." God says, "You are running in the wrong direction." I was always there, yet you are always going away from me, thinking you are looking for me. Where was the need to look? And as Babuji said, if you had just turned around, you would have found me. And he says, "God, why did you not tell me?" He said, "When I just followed you, you got afraid. If you could have heard me, what would you have done?" No. So it is until you are elevated to a position where you can perceive God and not be afraid. Because again and again in the Bible you find a reference to something and they hide their faces, you see, whether it's shame or guilt or fear. When you hide your face, it's either for shame or for guilt or because of fear. There's no fourth reason. So ipso facto, if anybody is there and he doesn't want to see you and he sees you coming and moves away, then one of these three factors in him, surely. No, sir, I just turned away because I didn't want to bother you. Lie. See? I mean, you don't need to be a spiritual giant. I can tell you what everybody thinks just by looking at them. This morning, I told Sujata. She was astonished. There's nothing to it. It just comes out, So they speak of saints telling only the truth. They don't tell the truth or the lie or anything. They open their mouths and the truth comes out. Like you open the tap and water comes out. It's as simple as that. That's why Babuji said, our priests and our teachers have complicated the whole thing about God. They have written volumes about it when one word would have been enough. Exists. What exists? No answer. Why? Because everything that exists is He. Is this true God? Yes. That also, yes. And this mud, yes, of course. If that was not God, you wouldn't be able to stand on it. So, existence. Does He know I'm here? Of course He does. Do these trees know? Of course. If they see you coming with the intent to cut down, they react. So without God in them, how would they know? So existence, consciousness. And yet bliss, because everything is happy except the human being. Why is he unhappy? Because he has desires. What are these desires? However much they are fulfilled, there is still a great deal unfulfilled. It is like a pot which you go on filling and which is never full. So there is no bliss in human life. There is existence, there is consciousness, no bliss. Therefore, we are always straying towards bliss. Where they are with God eternally, we have to be with God now consciously, knowingly, and with effort. That is where yoga comes in to link us back to divinity, you see. For having strayed from the divine realm, lost that bliss of being together, is like a child which wanders in the fair and is weeping inconsolably because it has lost its mother. The mother is there, the child is there. She is weeping, he is weeping. See? So existence, consciousness, Sat, Chit, Ananda we don't have. So the Vedas, the Upanishads go up to Anandam Brahmeti Vejanat, no Anandam to be Brahman. Babuji said, yes, but what beyond? There must be something beyond bliss. Because everything is eternal, everything is infinite. You cannot stop at a particular stage and say, now you have reached the end. See, evolution, whether divine or material, has no end. You cannot say, I have produced the best the camera. Next day you will produce something better. You may be able to produce a camera without a lens. You may make yourself the camera and look and blink and it's taken. You know? Because you are touching a circuit which records. The human being becomes a camera. Who knows? It is not impossible. So you see, whether it is science or philosophy, there is no end to anything. And there was never really any beginning to anything either. What was man before? Darwin says he must have been a monkey. We don't like it. Before that, well, he was a vertebrate. Before that, he was an amphibian. Before that, he was in the sea. Before that, he was the mollusk. Before that, he was the ooze, primeval ooze. And before that, we don't know. God is like that. Anadi Anantam. No beginning, no end. What was God before? Suppose your son asks you. Well, my son, God could not have been anything else because he was always God. Come on, Dad, everybody has to be something before. To be something now. This was a seed, now it is a tree. And then you say, okay, says, what was the seed before? Well, Daddy, it was the fruit in the tree. And before that, when there was no fruit, but Dad, it has to be there because it grew from, it could not have come from nowhere. That nowhere is divine. See? So from nothing it comes into being and goes back into nothingness. That is again the idea of life, of the evolving life. And quantum science says they seem to come into existence and disappear. Here science and spirituality think alike, but yet this is science and this is spirituality. For the scientist.
For arguments.
For us it's all the same. How do you know? They say, well, we see it on the, the trails on the camera plates, these particles leave behind. How are they made? Oh, the cyclotrons collision of particles. How do you know they collide? Well, there's the evidence on the camera plate. How do you know this is right? For heaven's sake, Shari, it is science, man. It has to happen. We program it. Yes, but in my quantum field, people come and go. What do you mean? Well, child was born, where was it earlier? Science says in its mother's belly. How did it get there? They give you all this crap about conception and, the egg and the sperm. What was the life and where was it? Was it in the egg or was it in the sperm? Well, Charlie, two things have to come together to produce the third. Wonderful science, So there is this eternal and I'm sure unending problem between science and spirituality. Because they believe in the invisible, but yet that invisible, if it did not leave a trace somewhere, they would not know. And they have the idea that some of these particles are moving backwards in time. But yet they scoff at science fiction. See? Because it is science but fiction. So these, the quarrel between diverging thoughts, diverging philosophies will go on perennially. I don't see them meeting, except at some future, maybe millennium, when they would say, yes, this is what we have all been talking about. Only thing, you called it science, I called it spirituality. It was both and it was neither. So Babuji says, is God Dvaita or Advaita? He says he can be what he wants when he wants. He can achieve a form if he wants it. He can remain invisible and unseen if he wants it. So he's either Dvaita or what did I say? Advaita, depending on what he wants. Yes, but how can you do that, Chariji? How can then, how? It's not possible. Yes, but you have this split window experiment where it can go through this split or this split window. How do you decide where it goes? Yes, but that is random. Do you think it's really random? Well, come to think of it, no, actually, but there's no explanation. That is God. You mean to say God is sitting guiding these particles into where they should be going? Well, you have no explanation, but I have at least some explanation. Why don't you accept it? But it is irrational, challenge. God. Science wins, spirituality loses. No, science has not won anything. See? So this is how it goes. Anything else? Okay, thank you.